Forbes Africa caught up with Maria Diamantopolou, Greek ambassador to South Africa, about Greece's economic situation. Let's take a look.
People suffered for a long time, and we have been through financial assistance programs, and now we negotiated and we start implementing the third one. So Greek people suffered for at least 7 years after the outburst of the international crisis in 2007. Greece was the only country, the OECD country, suffering and losing 25% of its GDP in such a short period. So try to imagine what it means for normal people, and unemployment arising from 15–16% to more than 25% this year. What other countries can learn out of this is one of the issues I've been discussing a lot with my South African counterparts, because challenges are the same around the world. And I can see some first signs of talking about, for example, unemployment in South Africa, which is a very important issue. And I always tell them, to my South African friends and the officials, please try to learn from what in Europe we suffered, because this is a European issue, and please try to change some things in your economy, in the way this economy develops, while it's still time, because still it's early for this is still a developing continent, a developing country, but you can learn very valuable lessons out of this European experience. But on the other hand, talking about South Africa, we must bear in mind that the Greek and Cypriot, the Hellenic community here, is a very powerful sector, a very powerful community, both for Greece and South Africa, which, just to give you an example, for South African economy represents more than 11% of your GDP. Active people who are very well integrated in South Africa, but still keeping their strong ties with their mother country, Greece. So they have this dual existence, personality, being Greek and South African, and they call themselves South African Greeks or Greek South Africans. But this is just to mention one example of how South Africa, developing more its economic and financial relationship with Greece, would be more present and assist in this new endeavor of my country to surpass this crisis. Advise, recommend that the public sector and bureaucracy are two of the main issues that any economy should focus on to improve and try to shrink so that there is more room for investment, private sector, small, medium business, which are very important also in South Africa, and of course what is my personal priority concerning the bilateral relationship between our two countries, the nautical cooperation, the maritime cooperation, the maritime sector, tourism sector, sectors that can develop very easily, and South Africa is in a very prominent geographical position in the African continent, the same way as Greece is the bridge country in the Middle East and the Balkan area. And that's why these two sectors, tourism and maritime cooperation, are the top priorities in our bilateral relationship too. We felt it from the first moment. Tourism is a heavy industry, as we say in Greece, and although the financial crisis, even this year, Greece's tourism influx to Greece have increased from 22 million last year to 26 million the moment we are talking now. It's still early September, which means that it contributes more than 15% of our GDP on a yearly basis. In the same time, during these 2 years of my staying in South Africa, together with working as an embassy and our consulates, General Consulate in Johannesburg and Consulate in Cape Town, we managed to increase the tourism flows from South Africa to Greece. Nowadays, this year, the numbers of South Africans visiting Greece concerning only visa issuing increased about 15 to 20%. And we issued this year more than 13,000 to 14,000 visas compared to less than 10,000 the previous years.